Hi everyone, I'm hoping that the signal, don't know which way to stand, let's turn this way. I'm hoping that the signal will be absolutely fine because having such issues with the internet at the moment. Once again, bane of my life. Look at my hair. I was neat and tidy this morning, but I've been out in the rain, which is no good, is it? Anyway, I've tried to upload a video, but Facebook will not let me upload because it's 6 minutes long. So that means I have to upload it to YouTube and then send you a video link. And I don't have time to do that at the moment. So I thought I would do a quick live about the little bulb pots so that you can make them if you wish. So I had some glassware left over from when I had the shop. And I just thought I'd pop some bulbs in to try and see if I could get any sales of bulbs, really, because they're such a good gift, aren't they? They really stretch across everybody. Even those people that don't care much for bulbs, they're kind of inoffensive. So anyway, let me crack on because I'm mid-flow of making a wreath as well. So bulb pots. So Elizabeth asked about the glass bowl. So I just had these left over. But seriously, you can use anything, a pudding bowl, a soup dish, a teacup, a terracotta pot. Have a look around whatever your charity shops, your little vintage shops. I discovered the most amazing vintage shop in Horncastle the other day. Let me just turn you back around. Horncastle is known for its vintage trail of shops. And I'd not really paid much attention to this, and then a friend said to me, let's go out on the most miserable day and look for little unusual Christmas gifts. I was like, okay. And we went to this one shop that just looked like a clutter, and it was 3 stories, really old building. And we kind of went all around that, and it went off in the back, and in fact it's got some amazing pots I'm going to go back for the garden. And then he said, don't forget to go around the side of the building. And we went around the side of the building, and there's this yard, like a sort of quite big yard. You couldn't get into all of the yard, just a driveway bit. But I'm not kidding, I wish I'd taken a photograph. There was just piles and piles of anything from cups, saucers, bowls, teapots, biscuit tins, anything like £1 sort of thing. So when I've got time and it's not bitterly cold on that day, I'm going to go back. We also went to another vintage shop, I think it was called Expectations or something, and that was a lot more organised, so I brought some bits from them. And then we went over to the church, which is another vintage shop, and that again was piled high. And then some of the rooms, like there was one whole room just filled with vintage lace and embroidered handkerchiefs and tablecloths and things, and I love those kind of things. I just couldn't be bothered to search through it all though. So anyway, things like that you can find. So back to my bulb bowl. So I brought these from my wholesaler, but you can find obviously bulbs in your garden centre. You can buy them now, not already sprouted, and then obviously they will just sprout as soon as you give them that little bit of water. My bulbs came in a pot like this from the wholesaler, so you can see loads of roots, all in compost, ready to go. I did buy the more expensive size of bulb because in the past I've brought the smaller size, and they've not really amounted to much, whereas the bigger size have done well. So I always recommend with bulbs to really invest in a good brand of bulbs. So Taylor bulbs, I've always had good success from them from the garden centre. And then leave the very, very cheap bulbs just for those bulbs that you can perhaps scatter in the garden, and hopefully they'll grow. And if not, it's not too wasteful. And then these glass vases, so what I did was I lined it with moss, leaving a hole in the centre ready to put my bulbs in, and then I just put my whole pot in and sort of twisted it around to make like a nest in the moss. And then I just took the bulbs out and put them in so that they're sat on top, which is perfect. And then for decoration wise, I put a piece of ivy which I found on the woodland floor, just pulled it up so the leaves are just very scattered, and then you'll see deep down in here, using a pin, a stub wire, I just created a pin. So I poked one end of the ivy in to the pot, and then I trailed it round, and then I used these to hold it down, and then obviously topped it up with moss around the bulbs. So otherwise the ivy will just spring up. So here you can see where it's not been pinned, and it's all sort of sprung out, which is fine for that bit. Foliage wise, I then added in 1 or 3 bits of little foliage. Really tough evergreen foliage is what you need, because you want it to last right for Christmas if you're giving it as a gift. So I've just got one in this one of holly, but the other things I found useful is any kind of conifer is brilliant for this. Anything that's really sort of green, you know, it will do well, but it will just need a little bit of water to keep it super fresh. And then decoration wise, my thing is, you know, again, this is where you can pick your theme. You can go natural, you can go full on sort of Christmas, it's up to you. But again, I just chose 3, so I've gone with the pheasant feathers at the back, so I had them left over, a couple of cones, different sizes to bring in the texture. So got a nice little bit of pattern, a bit of texture, and then here some white hypericum berries, just to bring in that little bit of colour there. Now they will only last really for a couple of weeks, which I always kind of tell my customer to treat some of the things as like fresh flowers, but they can always pull them out, and even with them not in, it still looks lovely. And in actual fact, as the hyacinths grow, they'll start to take over a little bit anyway. And so that, but on another one I put a teasel in, on another one I've just used different types of cones. Not everyone likes feathers, so I've tried to do some others, and then I've put some baubles in one. Added some twigs because it just adds a little bit of height to the design, and a little tag. I buy my tags, and there's no reason, even if you're not a business, that you can't just create a little tag, have a little tag with a piece of holly and a Happy Christmas on, or something with your name on. Now you can buy sort of ready-made ones, I suppose, from somewhere like Vista Prints, which is quite easy to use. If you're good at technology, you can just design a little tag on Canva, and then you can upload that design to somewhere like Banana Print, which is really efficient and super cheap to get your printing completed as well. So that, and then every year I just buy I buy these off Amazon, Merry Christmas little tags, just to stick on all of my wreaths and things. They'll need a drop of water from time to time, which I just kind of let my customers know. And obviously the best way is for them just to keep them as cool as possible, and I'll allow the hyacinths to grow naturally. Now, the other thing that you could do here and now is to get yourself some bulbs from the garden centre and put them into pots with a little bit of moss over, planted them for next year, so that you've got gifts to give away next year. So things like the little narcissi, little pots of muscari, even just a little mix is a really, really lovely gift. And these are great gifts for not just for Christmas, but they're brilliant gifts for birthdays, when you're just going around to somebody's house, because they just don't need that much looking after. And once the bulbs have gone over, they can keep the pot and use it for whatever they wish. And it's really sort of nice, I don't know, natural and affordable to do, and you can just be as creative as you like. And they suit anybody, I think. It's slightly different from a houseplant, where you feel like, oh, I've got to look after that houseplant, and how do I treat it, and it's tropical, and what kind of zone does it need in my house, and oh, now I need a container that houseplant's going to fit in, and then I need to pot up my houseplant and feed my houseplant. and all of that shenanigans. But bulbs are definitely a really, really lovely thing to do, either as a business or as somebody that just wants to gift some things this Christmas or next springtime. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I'll show you quickly. I don't know how my internet is doing. I'm just making my first wreath up on the bench. I've just got this bit here left to do, but I'll see if I can show you. So it's a peacock wreath, this one. It's being posted to a customer that orders from me every year over in Shropshire way. And it's a mix of this skimmia and these beautiful blue eryngiums and bracken and twigs. And how I've made it is as I choose everything, and I think I'll do a longer thing on this. I like to choose things that are mixed, I suppose. So if I'm putting in bracken, then the next bit I'll put in some twigs. So I've got like 2 dried elements, and then if I'm putting in decorative stuff, again, one bunch will have this in, and one bunch will have this, and one bunch will have nothing, one bunch will go back to that, but you get the idea. And the original bit as well is using green spruce like this, always a piece of green spruce, always a piece of Leylandii. And then I alternated between using pine or ivy, because it's ivy's lush this year, or ivy on top to give it that sort of bulkiness as well. So you can see the size there. But anyway, I'll do a little bit more on that. I need to do a Q&A or something on wreath making questions. So that's it really. I've just got to finish off this end bit here, and then it's been decorated with little baubles, what else, peacock feathers obviously, and some gorgeous ribbon and some cones that are kind of more bronzy coloured, longer cones. And then I always put a backing on my wreath as well, so I like to back the wreaths so that they're nice and protected. So always on a moss wreath ring. I love making things on moss wreath rings. Can you see the gap there? So that's where I finished. So I'm going to wire a separate bit and put a separate bit to finish that gap. I do like round wreaths. I do love textured wreaths. I do love full wreaths. I can't help it. That's just how it goes. I wasn't going to make wreaths this year. Now I've only got eryngium in this side because eryngium obviously come multi-headed. Let me show you. You can take a little tour over here. Ignore the dead plant. So multi-headed, and so I've been cutting off the middle one, but obviously I've got to work to a budget. I can't just randomly put in more and more and more of these. So I've kind of started and did the way round there, and then thought I'll leave a bit for where my ribbon's going to go, and then I'm going to wire in the ones that I've cut off just to make sure that I've got enough around there as well. Otherwise the temptation is you're just going to utilise the whole stem, and then I'm not going to make any money. And that's the name of the game. So it's cold. Sorry if I keep touching my nose, but it's cold. I've turned the heater off so I can talk to you all. And yeah, that's it. Let me show you a quick tour so that you can just see the chaos. This is a new workbench. It's not ideal, but because my others went to Blankney, I do miss my gorgeous white benches. This is a breakfast bar that I brought off Facebook for £20 or something, and Craig took the top off and then just cut a new top on for me. So we've saved the top in case we want to use it, and then he's kind of curved around because I have to squeeze past it when I'm doing my films for you guys. So it's against this bit at the minute. Off spruce, cutting up loads and loads of spruce, mossing up wreath rings, bags of offcuts for workshops. of my days. A wreath that I gave up doing because I didn't like it. Gypsophilia, which is going in my dead Christmas tree. I'm wanting it to die. I mean, who buys flowers to die? But that's exactly what I've done. So I want them to dry out, really. I found this twig in the wood the other day and loved it. Can you see how my mind works? I thought, oh yeah, that'll do. Like, I don't know what for, but I thought I would try and dress the back bit somehow. So, and I got stuck in the wood because it's got really thorny shrubbery of some description, and it was too painful to go through, and I was having to cut little bits so that I could get through the wood, and it was chucking it down with rain. This is my leftover from our live that's now dead, but still giving me some colours. In actual fact, look at that. That was that scraggy little one that I picked. That live is on the members area if you need to go and watch it. But that tiny little one has done really okay, and the spireas kept the leaves, and the chrysanths that I had from Floral Media in Newark have done well. And little phlox, it's probably got no water in there because I've just left it. So it's still full of colour and doing okay. That's my little dried flower, a heater, box of ivy. What else can I show you? And then I'll get off. A little sparkly head thing when I need to feel more Christmassy, and that's it. Boxes of stuff to go. So that's all got to get packed up, and dried stuff has got to get all sorted. But I've got my girl coming tomorrow, and so she's going to sort all the dried stuff for me and get that all bunched up ready for the wreath workshop. So that's it. Now this live won't stay because they only last 30 days, hence why I've been having to kind of do more videos, I suppose. So yeah, so unless I download it and then upload it, Facebook now makes it disappear after 30 days. So frustrating. But anyway, I'm going to get going and finish off my wreath, have a cup of coffee, because I've got 3 other wreaths that I must get made tonight. So anyway, I'll see you all soon.